all the way from Savannah, Georgia. I'm with the myth, the legend, the man, Mr. Tendernism himself.
All right, here we are. This destination won the nation. Jack up for a look at here, girl.
What's that? See that? You see this?
Pick
You
it
see
up,
this?
girl. You know, grab that bone. Home Tendernism.
When this business was nothing, and he and I came together a year after I took it over and started with the idea of barbecue, neither one of us thought we were going to be running Destination Smokehouse. We were Destination Coffee Bar, trying to sell a little bit of ribs and a little bit of chicken. But then at the end of the day, it shortchanges so many other people who built this business, including this guy, who when I met him had absolutely zero. Everybody thinks I'm like the money man. I'm the opposite of that. I came into a business that was losing money that I took over for my family just because I had no other prospects. And that's a whole other thing, like he said.
This guy, Nick Upremian, or Upremian, I think he's Armenian. So they're in California. Destination Smokehouse is the barbecue place. And there's a big controversy going on with him and this guy, Walter Johnson, little old black dude, real cool looking black dude, is very, funny guy. And I've been watching this old brother for like months on end on social media. Because he's always like demonstrating the barbecue coming off the bone. I'm thinking he's the guy barbecuing. I thought he had his own barbecue shop. I go, man, I'd love to go there, because he's funny and he's always peeling watch this and the meat falls off the bone. I'm like, oh, shoot, I wonder where this is at. So now I haven't watched in a while and I see this dude, this white, he's doing stuff with this dude, white dude. I'm like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden I hear comments like, yo, he's just using this brother. He's not the black dude's not the real owner. I'm like, oh, so this guy doesn't own a barbecue shop, a barbecue restaurant. It's the guy that's the white guy in the black shirt. I was like, what the is going on? Yeah, and people are coming at him and say, hey man, don't be letting him use you. You looking like a mascot. We care about this elder. We are tired of black folks being used for their talent and not getting properly compensated. Maybe there was a deal that we don't know about and he said, hey, I would love to advertise for your restaurant and would you let me do that? Maybe he did that, all right? Because he is the owner, but maybe he did that and we don't know that part because a lot of times these videos aren't contextual. We don't know the story. So I'm covering my to make sure like maybe this was an agreement that they had and all we saw was him as the front man, Walter Johnson. So I'm just checking because that. If he is treating them like we need to not go to no Destination Smokehouse. We need to not go there.
I had a wonderful woman come up to me today and she stopped me. I was at the soda machine and she's like, how does it feel to change the world?
Ain't nobody come here to see you, Otis. And ain't nobody say that to you. How does it feel to be changing the world? You making barbecue, bro. Come on, stop it. Now all of a sudden when the black community don't want to support Destination Smokehouse, now you're making a video pretty much saying like, hey, I ain't racist, guys. Nobody said you're racist. We said you're capitalizing off of black business when it is not black owned. And we see the jig that is going on and the jig is up. And then you got Tendernism sitting in the back of your video like a fucking prop and it's given to Django. That's all. It's given the Django movie. It all feels forced and it's giving off the energy like, hey, I got a black friend. Guys, don't worry, I'm not a racist. The truth is that he wanted to be Tendernism. He wanted to be Tendernism because Tendernism started having all the people come there. He had all the attention from creators. And he could not understand why, if he's the owner, why is his face not in the videos? And white folks, even when they're not blatantly racist, they have a hard time not being a main character.
In today's digital economy, the line between brand appreciation and appropriation has become increasingly significant. As brands rely more heavily on personality-driven content and cultural authenticity to engage audiences, ethical considerations around ownership, credit, and compensation have moved to the forefront. The situation involving Smokehouse Barbecue provides a relevant case study that illustrates how an act initially perceived as goodwill can evolve into a broader debate about power, visibility, and cultural extraction. Brand appreciation is grounded in recognition, transparency, and shared benefit. It occurs when a business acknowledges the origin of creative or cultural contributions and ensures that those contributions are rewarded fairly. Appropriation, by contrast, involves the extraction of value, whether cultural, linguistic, or personal, without equitable credit or compensation, particularly when one party holds greater economic or legal power. While both may appear similar on the surface, their impact on public perception and trust is markedly different. The smokehouse barbecue owner's decision to offer an older gentleman employment was initially viewed as a positive and commendable act. The gesture aligned with values of opportunity and inclusion, positioning the business as community-oriented and socially aware. This goodwill resonated with audiences and contributed to increased visibility for the brand. However, goodwill does not grant ownership over another individual's identity, expressions, or creative input. As the older gentleman began to dominate the brand's digital presence, it became evident that his personality and cultural resonance were driving engagement and virality. In modern branding, visibility is directly tied to brand equity. Consumers connect with people before they connect with products, and authenticity often determines whether content resonates or fails. When a brand's growth becomes closely associated with a specific individual's language, demeanor, or cultural expression, that individual transitions from being a background participant to a strategic contributor. Attempts by business ownership to reassert visibility or control after such growth can be perceived as an effort to reclaim narrative authority rather than a necessary business decision. The controversy surrounding the term tendernism represents a pivotal moment in this discussion. Coined organically by the older gentleman, the term gained popularity due to its authenticity and cultural relatability. As it spread across social media and became associated with tender, high-quality barbecue, it evolved from a casual expression into a recognizable cultural marker. While it is common practice for businesses to protect intellectual property, ethical concerns arise when a term created by a culturally influential contributor is trademarked without shared ownership, licensing arrangements, or explicit consent. Such actions may be legally permissible, yet they risk being perceived as exploitative when the originator lacks comparable resources or negotiating power. Public reaction to this situation has been particularly strong within African American communities, where historical patterns of cultural appropriation remain deeply relevant. For decades, creative expressions, ranging from language and music to food culture, have often been monetized by institutions, while the originators received limited recognition or long-term benefit. This historical context shapes contemporary responses, intensifying scrutiny when similar dynamics appear to repeat themselves. As a result, the trademarking of tendernism was not viewed as an isolated business decision, but as part of a broader and familiar pattern. Ethical brand appreciation requires more than exposure or employment. It demands shared power, transparent agreements, and equitable distribution of value. Best practices include formal acknowledgement of creative origin, shared ownership or licensing of culturally derived assets, revenue participation aligned with contribution, and clear protections for image, likeness, and intellectual property. Without these measures, businesses risk undermining trust and damaging their reputations, regardless of legal compliance. In conclusion, the smokehouse barbecue situation highlights the importance of ethical responsibility in contemporary branding. What began as a well-received act of opportunity evolved into a cautionary example of how quickly appreciation can be perceived as appropriation when ownership and control become imbalanced. In an era where cultural authenticity drives engagement and revenue, sustainable brand success depends not only on legal authority, but on ethical stewardship and shared value creation. Brands that fail to recognize this distinction risk alienating their audiences and compromising long-term credibility.